Deion Sanders' fascinating journey through college football as both a father and a head coach has always been filled with confidence, controversy, and unapologetic honesty. But few stories capture that duality better than the one recently revealed by Vanderbilt superstar quarterback and new Heisman finalist Diego Pavia. What started as a brief recruiting conversation during Sanders' Jackson State days has now resurfaced as one of the most surprising what-ifs of the college football world. And at the center of it all stands Shedeur Sanders, whose presence at JSU reshaped not only Deion's coaching decisions, but also the career path of one of the most electrifying quarterbacks in the country today. This season, Colorado's biggest problem is a quarterback, or rather the lack of one. After depending on Shedeur Sanders for 4 years, 2 of which were at Jackson State, Deion Sanders now faces the consequences of never securing a viable long-term replacement. Ironically, years ago, he actually had the chance to bring in another elite quarterback. But instead of selling a dream, Deion Sanders chose brutal honesty, unknowingly redirecting Diego Pavia toward a path that would turn him into a Heisman Trophy contender. The story resurfaced on December 8th, just one day after Diego Pavia officially became a Heisman finalist. Appearing on the Pivot podcast, Pavia shared an unforgettable recruiting moment with Coach Prime, one that left the hosts stunned and fans laughing. According to Pavia, the conversation happened when he was finishing up his JUCO career and desperately looking for a Division I opportunity. That was when Deion Sanders reached out from Jackson State. Pavia described it perfectly. Coach Prime offered me at Jackson State, but he was so real. He's like, hey, look, we're looking for a backup. You ain't playing over my son, even if he gets hurt. I'm like, at least he's real, you know? So I took the offer in New Mexico State. That one moment of raw honesty from Deion may have changed the entire trajectory of Pavia's career, and possibly Colorado's future. Deion's loyalty to Shedeur is no secret. But hearing it so bluntly from a quarterback who is now a Heisman finalist highlights just how deep that loyalty ran in those years. For Diego Pavia, it became a turning point. Coming out of JUCO, he wasn't a five-star phenom. He wasn't even ranked out of high school. He was a gritty, overlooked two-star kid, desperate for someone to take a chance on him. When Deion presented the opportunity to join Jackson State, but made the role clear, Pavia respected him. But being a backup just wasn't an option. He wanted a place where he could compete, start immediately, and prove himself. That desire led him to New Mexico State, and from there, one of the most unexpected ascents in modern college football began. His meteoric rise from anonymous JUCO quarterback to Vanderbilt's national hero is the kind of story Hollywood would struggle to script. He didn't just succeed, he became a symbol of relentless determination. After New Mexico State, he transferred to Vanderbilt for the 2024 season, a school that had spent decades in football misery. Yet, under Pavia, everything changed. In his very first year at Vanderbilt, he delivered one of the most jaw-dropping upsets of the season, a victory over Alabama. The program's energy shifted, the fan base woke up, and suddenly, Vanderbilt was being talked about as more than just an SEC punching bag. But it was his second year, the year he became a Heisman finalist, that elevated him into college football folklore. Pavia led Vanderbilt to a 10-win season since the 1970s. His dual threat abilities exploded across SEC defenses. He threw for 3,192 yards and 27 touchdowns, while limiting his interceptions to only 8. On the ground, he added another 826 yards and 9 rushing touchdowns. These numbers didn't just put him in the national conversation. They propelled him into the Heisman race, securing him the second highest total offense in the entire country. Vanderbilt had gone from an afterthought to a national storyline, and Pavia was the sole engine powering that transformation. His Heisman odds at plus 600 cemented him as a legitimate contender, standing shoulder to shoulder with favorites like Fernando Mendoza and Jeremiah Love. Analysts across the country praised Pavia as the most valuable player to his team in the entire nation, because without him, Vanderbilt doesn't just fall short, they crumble. But what truly captivated fans was Pavia's authenticity.
On the Pivot podcast, he shared childhood memories that painted a vivid picture of how long he had been manifesting this moment. At just 10 years old, he watched Johnny Manziel win the Heisman in 2012, a moment he remembers in crystal clear detail. Manziel quickly became his idol, later friend, and even a mentor. From studying Manziel's highlights to dreaming of one day standing on that same Heisman stage, Pavia had envisioned this journey long before anyone else believed in him. Now, that dream sits within reach. On December 13th, he will stand in New York City at Lincoln Center hoping to become Vanderbilt's first Heisman winner. If he pulls it off, he'll join an elite group of SEC legends, Johnny Manziel, Jaden Daniels, Tim Tebow, all of whom passed for over 250 yards and rushed for over 150 yards in a single game on their way to the Heisman. It's surreal, it's cinematic, and it's the kind of historic rise nobody saw coming, except maybe that 10-year-old kid watching Johnny football. Meanwhile, the Sanders family is watching closely too. Despite Deion turning him down years earlier, the entire Sanders clan is now publicly backing Diego Pavia. It's a fascinating full-circle moment. The quarterback Deion once told would never play over Shedeur is now being cheered on by this same family. And in a twist of irony, he's also the type of quarterback Colorado desperately needs today. The Buffaloes have struggled mightily after Shedeur's departure. Offensive inconsistency, lack of leadership, and quarterback uncertainty have plagued the program. Analysts point out that a player like Pavia, tough, experienced, fearless, and team-transforming, could have been a perfect fit for Colorado. But that opportunity slipped away years ago because Deion Sanders, staying true to himself, gave Pavia honesty instead of promises. That's what makes this entire storyline so unique. Pavia isn't bitter. He isn't resentful. In fact, he praised Deion Sanders for being one of the few coaches who didn't lie to him during recruiting. Most coaches would have sweet-talked him. Most would have promised competition, opportunities, maybe even a starting path. But Deion Sanders said the truth. You are not playing over my son, even if he gets hurt. Brutally honest, refreshingly transparent, and ironically, the honesty Deion thought might push him away is the same honesty Pavia respects to this day. But the ripple effect of that conversation is enormous. What if Pavia had accepted the JSU offer? What if he chose loyalty over starting time? Would he have ever broken out? Would Vanderbilt have become relevant again? Would he still be standing in New York as a Heisman finalist this week? Every indicator says no. If Pavia had chosen Jackson State, he never would have seen the field. Shedeur Sanders was the immovable starter. Even in moments of injury, Deion made it clear he wanted his son at the helm. And without playing time, Pavia's rise never happens. Instead, he chose his own path, and it led him to glory. But there is another side to this story, one that Colorado fans cannot ignore. Deion Sanders' unwavering commitment to Shedeur has been both a blessing and a curse. While it helped Shedeur develop into an NFL-caliber quarterback, it also meant that no other elite quarterback would come near a program led by Prime unless they wanted to sit behind his son. That decision, years later, is now haunting Colorado. Multiple transfers passed up Colorado because they feared favoritism. High school recruits steered clear because they assumed the starting job wasn't available. And while Pavia's story is the most high-profile example, he's not the only quarterback who walked away. Colorado was now stuck searching for an answer that Deion Sanders unintentionally chased away long before the program moved to the Big 12. Still, Pavia's success doesn't make Deion wrong. It simply proves that two lives can be changed by a single honest conversation. For Pavia, honesty led him to the greatest season of his career. For Deion, honesty kept his family legacy intact, but cost him a potential superstar. And for Shedeur, it preserved his path to NFL stardom without internal competition. There's something poetic about that. As the Heisman ceremony approaches, one thing has become clear. Diego Pavia is no longer just the JUCO underdog. He is a national name, a program savior, a symbol of heart and grit. And while Deion once turned him away, today he and the entire Sanders family are cheering for the same kid who refused to accept a backup role. If Pavia wins on December 13th, it won't just be Vanderbilt celebrating. It will be the final proof that sometimes the best stories in sports aren't the ones built on opportunity, but on being told no and choosing to chase greatness somewhere else.